Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to all the nominees. Thanks for being here. Mr. Dellinger, I'd like to start with you, if I could. The office that you are being nominated for, Office of Legal Policy, is a very important one, obviously, at the Department of Justice, one with a long and proud tradition. It will play an important role in the vetting and nomination of judicial nominees, or at least it has traditionally. So I want to ask you some questions about the court, starting with the current member of the court about whom you've had relatively a lot to say. Some of what you said, frankly, surprises me, and I want to give you an opportunity to clarify the record here. I'm talking about Justice Clarence Thomas. When you were in law school, you wrote an attack on Justice Thomas, saying that before he even took his seat on the United States Supreme Court, he was illegitimate. You said using the word justice with regard to Clarence Thomas was an oxymoron, and that his decisions would never have any legitimacy. That's quite a series of charges to make against a man like Justice Thomas, who's now stood on the court for quite a length of time. He's faced quite a lot in his life, I think. His life story is well known. His unique position on the court is well known. So let me just give you an opportunity here to address these very serious accusations. Do you regard Justice Thomas as an illegitimate member of the United States Supreme Court?
I do not, Senator Hawley.
Do you regard his opinions as illegitimate?
I do not.
Would you want to clarify your views now and what has changed since you authored those attacks on Justice Thomas?
Well, thank you, Senator Hawley. We share the same law school, and I wrote those comments in law school approximately 30 years ago at a time of a contentious and momentous nomination and confirmation hearing. A lot of time has passed. I certainly acknowledged immediately the outcome of that. Justice Thomas was granted a lifetime appointment. I recognize his service on the court. I recognize the historic nature of his service on the court as the second African-American justice. I recognize that he has been an important figure in the law, and I have the highest regard for the United States Supreme Court, for the justices who are confirmed to lifetime appointments, and I've recognized that throughout his time on the court.
Good. So in other words, it sounds like to me what I hear you saying is that you would retract these comments and regret that you made them those years ago.
Right. I can't turn back time. And again, those comments were made 30 years ago when I was a student. They do not reflect my recognition of his service on the court and the importance of his service on the court.
Good, very good. Let me ask you about some other comments you've made about various Supreme Court cases. You've been a pretty fierce critic of the Supreme Court's cases, recent cases regarding election integrity. You said that conservatives on the Supreme Court are a major barrier to your view of what ought to happen with election rules in this country. You've criticized the Crawford case, which was written by Justice Stevens, by the way, not a notable conservative, the Rucho case, RNC versus DNC, the McCutcheon case, Citizens United, the McDonald case, the Kelly case. Given your stance on these, I assume you're probably also a critic of the recent Brnovich case. Am I to take from this that you will be an advocate for appointing judges and justices who will seek to overturn these decisions?
No, Senator. The decision on who to nominate lies exclusively with the president. The Office of Legal Policy plays an important role, but a limited role. And it's similar to a role I played in North Carolina as the governor's chief legal counsel, which is to vet the background and qualifications of potential nominees for the president to be considered.
Well, if I could just interrupt you there, but you and I both know that that's where the real work is done. I mean, the list that gets to the president, right, that's where the real spade work is done. So what I'm asking, you're going to play if you're confirmed, you play a very important role in this process. You've been very outspoken and very critical about all of these cases. And you've been very fiercely critical of those who, on the Republican side of the aisle, who have fought for election integrity and of the United States Supreme Court. So let's come back to this again. Will you be an advocate for appointing judges and justices who will seek to overturn these decisions, the McCutcheon case, Citizens United, the McDonald case, the Crawford case?
Senator, I recognize all of those cases as the law of the land. And I will say, Senator, that I do think in the area of public corruption,
But I'm sorry to interrupt you. we have a really short timer. My time's almost over. What I'm asking you to think is, do you advocate that they be overturned? I understand you recognize them as the law of the land. Of course they are. They're controlling precedent. The Supreme Court can revise its own precedent, as we know. So you're going to have an important advisory role. Will you advocate for judges and justices who will seek to limit and overturn these cases that you've criticized so fiercely?
Senator, I will not be an advocate in the role that I hope to be confirmed for.
My time has expired. I'll have some more questions for you for the record. Thank you, Mr. Dellinger. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. Well,